Welcome to the attractions section. Today we're going to dive into some other cool topics, have a lot of fun, and learn something new. Let's also cheer up a bit after all the recent events. Did you know that in some specific countries, such as Japan, the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, Austria, Australia, and a few other notable nations, there are specialized hospitals where they meticulously treat children's beloved and often damaged dolls? Basically, you take your kid's tired and worn-out doll there, and they admit it just like a real hospital. They even create a medical file for it. They examine it. They give it shots. They give it a bath. In short, they treat it in every possible way. It's as if it's not just a piece of cloth. They treat it with the respect of a living being. Why? Well, a lot of times these dolls are more than just toys. It's like they're a friend or an emotional refuge. So even though fixing your doll might cost more than buying a new one, you'd still rather have your doll treated. Just like a family member. For example, if your dad gets sick, you don't just go and get a new dad to replace him, right? For some people, that's exactly how they feel about their dolls. Now, one of the most popular doll hospitals is the Nui Gurumi Bioin Hospital, which opened in Osaka, Japan in 2014. Interestingly, this hospital only accepts patients by appointment and has made quite a buzz on social media. That's because they pay a lot of attention to detail and provide very careful and thorough care. Now let's move on to a strange story about a great white shark. Sometimes there are people who are just too brave. Jen is one of those people because she decided to make friends with a great white shark. And not on land, not with gloves, but directly in the water. First, everything is really calm. The shark is motionless, lounging next to the boat like a harmless fish. You could even say it's kind of peaceful. But then suddenly, in just a second, that prehistoric predator turns its head and, lightning fast, goes straight for Jen's hand and bites her. This is just a friendly reminder. Never forget that the great white shark is a wild animal. If you don't show it respect, it'll quickly remind you exactly who you're dealing with. And it'll do it in the worst way possible. Because even if a shark looks like it's smiling, those saw-like teeth of its are no joke. Now, let's talk about a terrifying new technology in the painful world of car theft. As if car thieves weren't enough, now we've got robot buddies joining in too. This robot can steal your car in just 5 seconds, and even the most advanced security systems can't stop it. In China, they've built some revolutionary robots that can hack and steal any car in just a few seconds. What's interesting is that these robots have no weight limit and can easily move up to 15 tons. That means they can even steal a big truck. So basically, thieves no longer need a crane, they don't have to push the car or even come at night. A single robot can do all of this by itself. No? Well, first the robot goes under the car, slides a special platform underneath, and locks the wheels so the car stays steady and doesn't fall. Then it just lifts the car up like a toy and takes it away. This happens so quickly that even if the car owner is there, they can't do anything about it. By the time they realize, the car is already gone. Now, you should know that in some cities, these robots are actually used for dealing with illegal parking. But the downside is that a lot of these cars are never found again. So be careful where you park, because a robot might come and take your car away for good. Some map-making companies deliberately put mistakes like a fake street or a wrong name on their maps. Now, why do they do that? It's so that if someone copies their map, they can take legal action and catch them. These intentional mistakes are called trap streets. Let me give you an example so you really get the idea. In 1936, an American cartographer named Richard Chachi, to prevent his map from being copied, added a fictional mountain called Mount Richard, named after himself, to the official map of Boulder, Colorado, a mountain that didn't exist at all. But there are also special and exceptional cases. For example, the oil company Esso put a fictional town called Agloe on its map in the state of New York. But a few years later, a shopkeeper came along. He opened a store exactly at that spot, and since the name was on the map, he named his shop after it. Agloe General Store. That spot on the map became real because of a single store. It became an official place, and you could no longer say the name was made up. Later, when another company called Rand McNally copied the same map, Esso wanted to sue them. But since Aglo had become a real place, the court dismissed the case. But overall, these traps are designed so cleverly that they don't harm ordinary users at all. For example, sometimes they show an extra curve in the road, or they make a big street look small. In short, it doesn't cause any significant harm to users or the map itself, but copycats are detected and caught very easily. Now, let's take a closer look at the extensive construction projects currently underway in China. Did you know that 80 to 90 million apartments in China are empty? That's about the entire population of Germany. Around 82 million people could easily come and live here. So what's the story? Well, in China, the government and construction companies have built a lot of new cities with residential towers, wide streets, shopping centers, and full infrastructure. But the strange thing is, many of these cities are empty, meaning there are no people living in these homes, and there aren't any cars driving on the streets either. In short, there's no sign of daily life in these cities. It's just an empty world, just like scenes from a post-apocalyptic movie. These cities are called ghost cities. Modern cities that were built more for economic reasons than out of necessity. What does that mean? It means the government boosted construction to grow the economy. Banks gave out loans and people bought homes, but not to live in them, just as investments. Stylish cities with all the amenities, but their nights are darker than anywhere else, and their silence is eerie. Between two powerful predators, the python and the jaguar, which one do you think would win? Well, pythons belong to the family of non-venomous snakes, so they don't kill with venom. They suffocate their prey by wrapping around it. They can swallow prey even bigger than themselves because they have incredible physical strength. On the other hand, jaguars are powerful big cats with one of the strongest bites among felines, and they usually take down their prey with a powerful blow to the skull. Now imagine a badass, dangerous jaguar has gone down to the riverbank to drink some water. His mouth hasn't even touched the water yet. Suddenly, a massive python jumps out from under the bushes and wraps itself around it. Poor jaguar has no choice but to end up on the python's lunch menu. But on one of London's fancy streets called Leinster Gardens, there are two houses that are just pretending to be houses. What does number 23 and 24 mean? It means they only have a facade. Behind them, they're empty. The person who actually built these facades put in a lot of effort to make them look like the neighboring houses. So much so that if you just walk by, at first glance you probably won't even notice the difference. The only things that raise suspicion are that these facades don't have doors. Even the windows don't have glass. They're just painted onto the wall. If you touch them, you'll realize these facades aren't made of wood. They're heavy and solid. But why were these houses even built in the first place? Well, about 150 years ago, when they built the world's first subway line, the Metropolitan Railway, underneath here they had to demolish two houses. But since that street was really fancy and nobody wanted an ugly, awkward subway hole to be visible, the railway company put up a nice facade in its place. It was as if nothing had ever happened. So, if you ever find yourself in London, this is one of those strange and fascinating spots that's perfect for taking a selfie. Have you ever watched a fashion show and then thought, who even wears stuff like that? Who are these clothes even designed for? Anyway, well, let me tell you a secret. Some luxury brands intentionally design outfits that are only ever seen on the runway and never actually produced. Because if someone actually walked down the street in them, people might call the police and say there's some weird lunatic wandering around town. But why are clothes like that even designed in the first place? Well, when we talk about creative, high-end fashion, fashion is considered a form of art. For example, Rei Kawakubo from the brand Comme des Garçons designed an outfit that has neither sleeves nor the shape of a regular piece of clothing. But that outfit is considered an artistic sculpture that presents the human body like a painted canvas. On the other hand, there are other reasons for this. The unusual outfits on stage showcase the overall atmosphere, inspiration, and mood of a collection. That is, even though these clothes don't look like ready-to-wear pieces, the color combinations, fabrics and techniques used are later applied to actual wearable clothes. Plus, these kinds of outfits help make a brand more recognizable in a way. They stick in people's minds, and even other designers and brands get inspired by them.